We have started to record the most recent session of MM2003, Reporting and Writing for the Mass Media for the fall semester. It is Thursday, December 2nd, 2021, and the fall semester has gone by very, very quickly. I wanted to indicate before we get too much into looking at your blogs that we will be meeting during final exam week. It is, as you're well aware, never a requirement that you be here live. A couple of you have been very consistent, but I feel it's important that we check, as I told you during Tuesday's video, where we are regarding the final project on visual journalism. Doesn't have to be completed. It can be a work in progress, but I think it's important to take a look at all of your blogs, as we will today, one more time to check on progress, check on professionalism, check on some of the skills that you have been picking up during the semester as a media professional. And with that in mind, here's a reminder that we can go to Blackboard Ultra for our class period coming up next week. Today is the class session right here, December 2nd, but we will be meeting on Wednesday of final exam week. Roughly around this time, it may be a little bit later, probably somewhere in the area of 2:30. I'll be on campus giving an exam on Wednesday afternoon, but I will be back later in the day for one more class session, really to encapsulate everything that we've done during the term. And it's really helpful for all of you to be aware that I will not officially post grades on Campus Connect until Monday morning after everyone has left the dorms, after we've had fall commencement. I want all of you to take as much time as possible in all of my courses to make certain that everything that was required, one, has been completed, and two, has been written, researched, edited, and posted to the best of your respective abilities. Wednesday, December 8th, we will be looking, as you can see, at everyone's website one more time. And please make certain that you understand that you have 20 separate assignments in the blog going in chronological order from assignment 1, what is your definition of news, to assignment 20, which is the wild card. And then on top of that, after assignment 20, is the visual journalism final project. I want to make certain that all of you know this is a slightly different circumstance than the fall of 2020. During the pandemic, we started early, we ended early, so we only had 20 assignments, with the visual journalism assignment being number 20 and the blog being worth 250 points. That's not what we're doing in here. It's worth 200, with 50 being the final project on visual journalism and the other 50 being class participation. With that in mind, now let's go to my Twitter feed. Many of you have been accessing it on a regular basis for videos, and the most recent tweet I sent out 48 hours ago is a screenshot from Blackboard Ultra. November 30 screenshot, 22 downloadable videos on Blackboard with Professor Reppert for viewing and research purposes, monitored in the Grade Center for class participation. This is an edited screenshot of what you will find when you put in specific dates on Ultra. August 18th was our first official day of the fall term. And as of 48 hours ago, you can see everything is alphabetized from video A to video V. Today is going to be V, and then of course today will be W, and X will be during finals week. Anything that you need to find a refresher on for any of the projects, whether it be what I was talking about with your respective blogs, with the research, the writing, the editing, the factual accuracy, the creative aesthetics for everything you put together, or taking a look at your classmates' work, or what we have done in this course in years gone by. Keeping in mind that on Tuesday in this class, we were looking at materials for visual journalism dating to the fall semester of 2012, the first time I taught this course under the new mass media emphasis in mass communication. All of our tweets during the semester can be found in reverse chronological order. Many of them are assignment research. Some of them are screenshots for different videos, how you can join a class. And I'll be doing the same thing as we get into what we are going to examine today for assignment 20, which is the wild card, and also what we'll be looking at specifically next week, which is the progress on the final projects. This is everything that we have done for tweets in this course, going back to mid-August with the syllabus and all of the assignments. And right here is where we began with the original Blackboard, which changed on us, as you'll recall, right at the end of August, and we had to immediately transition into Blackboard Ultra. In case any of you did not get the opportunity to view Tuesday's video, which was almost 2 hours in length, a friendly reminder of where you can go to access the information if you don't want to watch the videos on Ultra. They are easily downloadable for viewing purposes at my website, and those of you who are majors know this very well. Scroll down to MM2003. Within this window, all of the course videos, beginning with video A from August 31st. Time goes by very, very quickly, guys. All the way to what we were doing with our marathon session on Tuesday, video V. It looks like I'm saying through an infomercial, hold on, there's more. You'll recall at the beginning of the semester, one thing that I did quite frequently was to go back and show you video clips of previous course sessions. And I'm going to do that today for a few minutes from beginning to end to remind all of you that having all of that research for visual journalism really helps you maximize your creativity. The first thing people are going to see at the top of the blog is going to be the visual journalism final project. And I felt it was important to look at all different types of research from all different areas in detail. That immersive, interactive approach for a professional looking news blog that looks and reads professional is extremely important. When you click on the link at my website to any of the courses, this is how it looks. From this perspective, you'll click on the video, it will open, and I'll talk. So let's take a quick perspective on what we were looking at on Tuesday. We have started to record the most recent session of MM2003, Reporting and Writing for the Mass Media for the Fall Semester. It is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021. I hope all of you enjoyed your Thanksgiving break. As you can tell, in my household, over my left shoulder, I have spared no expense in making sure that the spirit of the season is available on our final 3 course videos for the term. Today is going to strictly be a research opportunity for all of you to consider ideas for your final project on visual journalism, which is going to be due at the end of finals week. Taking a news story with data visualization, with any type of video that you may consider or infographics and putting it into a unique context. I have a lot of examples to show you, going back all the way to the first time that I taught this course during the fall of 2012, all the way up to different types of websites from last year, fall of 2020. I also have research available through web searches for data visualization and infographics. But before we get to any of that, here's a reminder of what's coming up, and I want to go to the syllabus first.
Data visualization is the graphical representation of information. Data visualization lies at the intersection of the fields of communication, information science, and design.
Some people don't know it's from the Onion, for instance, imposter content, manipulated content, and whether or not something is fake news. Now look how big that infographic is. And there's more down here. Supporting sources, what are the experts, what's the text, the information, the author, bias, URL, the source. All of this really does matter. You're well aware, I've talked about this in so many of my classes, that many people will read something online or watch a video and think because it has the look and feel of real news that it actually is something authentic, when in fact it could be mock news, or it could be something that is misinformation or disinformation. The Christmas parade of 2012 with the homecoming video of 2014. So I click on the link, and this will also open in a different window. JW at the time was doing work for the SAU Communications Department. And I wanted to show you what his video looks like. Similar to what you just saw, this would fit under the category of feature news. I have it paused, I will play it, make it full screen, and this one is also in the category, time-wise, of about 2 minutes. Here we go. Hello. Stereotypes. Traditionally, thinking is not always the best. Like how I was, it makes you closed-minded and unopen to change. Thankfully, by witnessing a different way to tell a story through pictures, I was given the choice to adjust my lens perspective on the matter. It has taught me new things and has grown me as an artist. I am truly thankful for the experience and hope to encourage you to never be limited by the safety of tradition, but to embrace change and be willing to adjust your lens on some matters. That's why I've been telling you that 10 years ago, whenever I'm teaching Introduction to Mass Communication, everyone before and after class is on their computers trying to see whether or not they have any likes on Facebook. In 2021, people are on TikTok, people are on Instagram, people are on Snapchat. If you have nieces, nephews, younger brothers or sisters, the formats that they're using socially are going to be the methodologies by which we find out about news in the future. So using something like this as a final project from Carly, including what she indicated at the bottom, going against stereotypes, is a unique way to, as she says, adjust the lens. It's obviously anticipated. And there's the ring, the happy moment, and like I said, they are now married. And congratulations to the happy couple. As we're all aware, every kiss begins with K. He bought it at Jared. Or maybe not, but that's what her website looks like. Oh, and there's a video here too. Popular culture. The next 2018 project I want to show you is more along the lines of data visualization. And it is sports related. This is Colby Clinton. Colby Clinton is a sports fan. And in this case, what he is doing is a statistical analysis in 5 different graphics of Aaron Rodgers. It's Brooklyn. That goes back 5 years, but she's a cute little girl. And there is our probate, and there you have more photos dealing with the event itself. And this is what her website looks like, including her wild card, her classmate blog critique, where she was looking at someone who transferred from SAU. Journalism projects may help you, in addition to background research from what we did in August to what we were doing last week. And remember, video V is going to be right over here. And we will be back not only on Thursday of this week, but also on Wednesday afternoon of final exam week. So for all of you who were enrolled in this class, from top to bottom, really make sure that you have assignments 1 through 20 exactly the way you want. And at that point, I can put a score of a maximum of 200 points for the blog with 300 required in the course, last class period of the year. But when you go back and watch the creativity and quality of writing and the immersive interactivity that people bring to their blogs, I think it's helpful just to do a deep dive into what so many people have done with videos, with writing, with editing, because your experience as a news professional is going to encompass so many different things, with hard news, with featured news, with opinions. It really is important to have your fingers in a lot of different areas that are going to help you with that overall expansive knowledge that's necessary to be a news professional. Because if you're working in a professional position, you're going to have those fingers in a lot of different pies, and it's important that you be proficient in as many of these tasks as possible, which is why you've got not only 20 news assignments for the blog, but the visual journalism final project. We will continue with assignment 20, the wild cards and the progress that you're making with your blogs as a whole in 48 hours. As for MM 2003, reporting and writing for the mass media, keep up the good work, and that concludes the recording session for today. I feel it's really important as we get to the end of the semester to show you little pieces of videos as we did earlier in the term, primarily because when it comes to visual journalism, you can see there are so many different ways that you can go with a hard or a feature news story. Think about all of the different things we saw, such as Boo at the Barnyard or a child being born. 2 different cameras were being used. That footage was edited together. Then some of the things that have been done in the past, whether it be a statistical analysis or any of the other items that we saw, make sure that whenever we click on that name, that it is reflective with that project of what you think is important as a capstone visually for this course. Let's move to assignment 20, wildcard. What are some of your classmates working on, realizing that not everyone is at assignment 20, but we'll take it in reverse alphabetical order with the number of assignments that have been produced, starting with all of the wildcard topics with assignment 20. Lauren is first. When you click on her website, this is what you see. You can tell that the graphic, which is always the largest for the first project that you put on, is pixelating a little bit. Remember that whatever she has for the final project is going to replace this at the top of the blog. So anything that is seen here in a larger format actually will be smaller as we move down. So the fact that this is a little blurry is not problematic. This is what Lauren is doing for her wild card. It is on Harry Styles, and it appears that she is incorporating her visuals, whether it be screenshots, digital images, into the copy and then uploading it, and that's acceptable. Quote, earlier in 2021, Harry Styles signed on to an undisclosed company that was categorized as luxury products and beauty products. Anyone who is a fan knows that Harry doesn't shy away from wearing makeup or dresses or painting his nails. As a fan, the first thing that came to mind was Harry is going to release nail polish. I like to think I know the inner workings of his mind because, come to find out, I was right. Months later, Harry was seen with a sticker on his phone case that said pleasing. Fans began to speculate that was going to be the name of his brand, since there was yet a brand like that to exist. And certainly after the San Jose, and by the way, remember, Lauren, San Jose is a J, not an H. In this case, I am serving as your editor. And most of the time in media copy, it would be November 11. The TH would primarily be used for broadcast. So it would be San Jose with a J and then November 11 and take off the TH. We're a little bit more flexible with online copy, but that would probably be the best way to go. Continuing, the same night, Taylor Swift, continuing the quote, dropped her version of Red. Pleasing was billboarded on all of the signs around the local venue, and here is a link to the brand, which opens in the same window. I'm not getting any sound effects. And by the way, you'll notice whenever I was playing bits and pieces from Tuesday's course video, I intentionally was trying to get past any of the audio from any of the clips that were included in videos, primarily because the videos that are recorded on Blackboard do not appear to be at the same frame rate when you play it back frame by frame, second by second, that you would have on a DVR or on a DVD. You'll have somewhat of a shifting quality or a halting quality to it, almost similar to what you would find with time-lapse videography in a convenience store. And it affects the audio. That's why I don't play it. But let's go ahead and scroll down. So much of this, as you're well aware, is branding, is imaging, something that we've talked about with the website. And because he is a name unto himself, something like this makes sense from a marketing perspective. Whenever we're scrolling through your website, is it reflective of your personality? Are they always going to be objects in transition? They probably are. Now let's scroll back to our website. So it is the brand with polished products, a link to roll-on serum, a link to infused with encapsulated pearls, and you saw that on one of the visuals available at his pleasing website. They are all vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. And then there's the nail polish formulas, biodegradable. The artist had this to say about the brand, quote, I wanted to find a way to explore more ideas and have more opportunities to collaborate with people who were inspiring me. That's how Pleasing was born. Starting the brand with beauty felt exciting because creating great products is a unique way to make people feel good. There's always a place at the bottom where we can share this on social media on a variety of platforms. We've talked about that during the semester. So she's got 4 graphics that are interspersed with her copy. As you're well aware, the assignments don't have to be fantastically long, but something in this case that you really wanted to discuss that was not available within the context of the other 19 assignments. Assignment 1, defining news, all the way to assignment 20, the wild card. And this is what her website looks like as of today. And we'll also do this during final exam week. We'll continue on, just look at the design consistency to number 1. And how does this look on your phone? And there's defining news. We'll click on her name one more time. And that is what her website looks like as of the final regularly scheduled day of class before final exam week. The next website we'll be examining today is Joanna, and she's been doing a lot of editing and updating. This is what hers looks like. Her wild card, and there's some editing being done at the top. But in the last month and a half, she went to a makeup style motif, which works for her particular brand. And then we scroll down from here. What does it take to become a fashion model? Don't quote me, but I believe this is her. All of the graphics that are provided as part of the wild card. Very stylish, tying in with the subject matter. There she is. Now, I don't know. I'm guessing that this and this beginning and ending photos each are of Joanna. Do you dream of being the next Gigi Hadid, grading the cover of Vogue? Modeling, gracing. I have grading on the mind. Modeling as a career has become a much vaunted choice now, with thousands of aspirants chasing the dream of becoming the next supermodel. You need to prepare, to plan, and follow a strategy to stand out and get noticed. The most beautiful thing a woman can wear is confidence. Now you can tell this is an edited screenshot, which she incorporated among these many graphics, which is really a nice touch. The photo above is a picture of me from 4 years ago. I didn't always have the confidence that I have now, but after time, it became a part of me. So let's start up the top again. If you want to take the wild card and go in a totally different direction, that is not a problem with me, because it is showing off your originality. So there's the beginning. And as we continue through this, I think all of you always need to consider, how are the photographs going to be interweaved throughout the narrative? And are we seeing improvement all the way through? Of course, many people think to become a model, you have to have a certain look or height. And then you've got Eva Marcel, who won the 3rd cycle of America's Next Top Model. Then you see Tyra Banks, how you can get started in modeling, including be safe, be professional, commit to work. And there you have Joanna in the middle with a celebrity stylist. And there is a link to the website, which is opening in the window, from a celebrity stylist. The hacks of life. One of the things that we learn in the internet era is different online hacks. But that's a nice touch with the link. And there you have him available on the phone. You've seen all of these graphics, larger, including Rihanna. And just continuing through fashion icons making a statement. This is one of the most recent photos, as you can now see from the selected photos. I am now a very experienced model. I'm not the average height a model should be, therefore I mainly book commercial and print jobs. In other words, no matter how big or small, tall or short you are, man or woman, if you use the tips above and have the confidence, anyone can be a model. You just have to own it, as Tyra Banks would say. And here we have her classmate blog critique. And this is a shout out to Finley. Now, I'll probably be looking at this in greater detail during our last regularly scheduled class day. But just to show you a little bit, this looks like this was uploaded as one source. And she's also complimenting Finley for the blog she has produced in other courses. I'm guessing something like this, Joanna, is also going to look quite proficient on a phone. So that is her website as of today. One of the advantages of also having a final exam session of this course is not only taking a look at your progress on visual journalism final projects, but taking a look a little bit deeper into some of the things that you may be catching up on that we didn't have an opportunity to examine during earlier sessions. We'll now go to the website for Alexis. And the first thing that she has up here for the wild card are dollar signs. As I was mentioning when we were looking at Lauren's website a few minutes ago, the graphic up here is going to be this size whenever the visual journalism final is up here on top. So all of you can consider what that graphic is going to look like for visual journalism, and that it's large enough so it doesn't pixelate. Here, it really doesn't matter, as we've talked about this all the way through from opinion to other different projects. But let's go ahead and click on the wild card for Alexis and go ahead and open up your mic and tell us what we're looking at today.
Can you refresh it?
Sure. In fact, I'll do it this way. There we go. Keep in mind, oh, do me a favor.
Oh, I need to do
Since
the 21.
This, get rid of the number 20.
Okay.
The only thing that you need is visual journalism. Visual journalism should be flush left.
Okay.
Let me know when you've done that. You can tell we're recording in real time. There's no editing here.
Yeah.
I was joking with Alexis before we began. On occasion, when you guys are watching the videos during the term, and there's maybe a 5 or 6 second delay where I'm not saying anything, one of the things that I've learned over the past year and a half during the pandemic and now transitioning from online courses back to face-to-face full-time in spring of 2022 is knowing where that audio mute button is so I can clear my throat. Can I go ahead and refresh this now?
Yes.
We're going to save that for Wednesday of next week. So this will be the teaser, Bussey Hall at SAU for visual journalism. But you can go ahead and give your own version of a verbal teaser, because we were also talking about this before class. Your idea for visual journalism is?
Okay, so my idea is I'm an RA at Bussey. This is my second semester being an RA. I was an RA at Green last year for the second half. But yeah, I'm excited about this one. I wrote a lot, so there is a lot of writing, and I took a lot of time on it. I really liked it, and I hope y'all do too.
And it is okay during the last week of the semester, even though many of you have taken also either or both the introduction to public speaking or advanced public speaking course from me, it is acceptable during the last week of class that, as Alexis did, you drop a y'all during a course video. So hold off on this. We're not going to look at it. We will come down to the wild card. Now, as I was mentioning, notice how the graphic changes. You want this one to really be high quality, because whenever anyone clicks on your name, that's the first thing that they're going to see. And then we come down to the wild card. Notice that there's no pixelation because it changes. So we'll go ahead and click on this and go to the wild card, and your topic again is.
So this one was pretty interesting. I think this was on the 20th of November, and I had an update on my phone because I get little news alerts. And this, I knew I wanted to do this as my bonus immediately whenever I read about it. But in California at 9:15, drivers like abandoned their cars in the middle of the interstate. It was on I-5, which is an extremely busy interstate. And they just left their vehicles in the middle of the road, got out of their car to pick up the thousands of dollars of cash laying on the roads because an armored truck's doors came open, and so everyone was pocketing the cash and posting videos about it. And so now the FBI has it underneath investigation and are arresting people that either posted videos or are under suspicion. And there's also a number at the bottom of the website to contact if you know of anyone that has the money or if you are going to return the money. So
Now let's take a look at this gentleman. He's got, I see $1 bills, and I really don't see any other denomination, even though I'm guessing what I see right here may be a larger denomination. But this is just common sense. You can't take the money. It's not yours. However, now let's take a look at her sentence structure. Notice the way that she starts this out with a surprise scattering across the roadways, the armored truck driver, and you just wonder what happened with the truck, because whether it's a Brinks truck or any of those that you see on the SAU campus on more than one occasion, if you ever see any kind of armored trucks on the SAU campus, they're usually parked right in front of the rental center. And how something like this happens, I just have no idea. But before we get to the rest of your story, let's go ahead and click on the link. Now, this is from KTLA Los Angeles. It's opening in a different window, and I'll share this with all of you. It's called Armored Truck Drops Cash on I-5, which is the main thoroughfare in Southern California. And I'll close the ad, make sure that you see what I do. And there's the same gentleman. And you just look at that. And then you said they posted this on social media?
yes, people were posting videos on TikTok and Instagram.
Not really showing what can best be described as a lot of common sense.
If you steal something, don't post it. Just don't.
But here's the other advantage to this, Alexis, and something that all of you need to consider. This is KTLA Los Angeles, a major news affiliate in one of the largest, if not the largest, television market in the country. How is the sentence structure? Authorities were working to identify drivers suspected of pocketing money that went flying from the back of an armored car with a link in blue in Carlsbad on Friday. California Highway Patrol began receiving calls at about 9:15 a.m. about a large sum of money in the roadway on a section of Interstate 5, and that some drivers were getting out of their cars to collect the bills. KTLA sister station in San Diego, KSWB, reported with a link in blue. A man and a woman suspecting of taking cash with a link were arrested after they got stuck on the freeway with their keys locked in the car, blocking traffic, according to CHP. Now, CHP is California Highway Patrol. And this is what the rest of the story looks like. Notice the paragraphing structure. Relatively short. You don't see anything more than roughly about 3 lines all the way through. So for this hard news story, and as we transition back into the website for Alexis, it's something that all of you always need to remember. How are professional news operations going through their particular rotations for writing news stories? The who, what, where, why, when of the lead. How are they making certain that everything is factually accurate? And then what Alexis does correctly is to provide a link to the original source so we can check out her editing structure from the original copy. And as you can see, she does a nice job of rewriting this. The armored truck driver stepped out of the vehicle to collect the bills, as well as a lot of other drivers. You can't keep it. What you do is you pick it up, or if you have some type of plastic bag in the car or some type of similar place to put the money, and then just turn it in. Everybody knows the money's out there. The whole incident is now under investigation by the FBI. Suspected people in the videos have been arrested. And then that's really important to provide the telephone number for the dispatch center. Again, so you've got 1, 2 in reverse order, 3, and 4. We had something similar to this a few years ago in Little Rock. I want to say someone had incorporated this for a media quiz in Introduction to Mass Communication, where I believe there was a truckload of frozen pizzas that spilled out onto the roadway in suburban Little Rock, and it was hilarious to see all of these people picking up frozen pizzas. So for this particular wild card, is there anything else you would like to say, Alexis? I think you laid it out quite properly.
I don't think I need to add anything else.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I will say this, as we go back to your website, what was your motivation for doing the final project? Was it just the fact that you spent so much time in Bussy and you're really a role model as an RA there?
Kind of. So the main thing that I do is I do school and I do work. I live where I work, so work has kind of become the majority of my life. So I wanted to talk about it in this visual presentation, and I thought that this would be really fun and just nice for me to lay it all out there, especially if anyone does or is interested in becoming an RA. I really gave some helpful information that lays out the pros and the cons of being a residence assistant.
And I think what's helpful for all of you, and I'll really go into this in greater detail on Wednesday of next week, is to examine the design consistency all the way through of everyone's website. So if I click on Alexis's name, that's what you see. And how does it look on your phone? How does it look on your computer? How do your classmates' blogs look on your phone or computer? All of that really does matter. And we started off in 2015 in such a way that the sophistication of putting these together as the years go on changes. And always keep this in mind before we, thanks Alexis, you can go ahead and close your mic. Before we go to the next website, which is going to be Taylor, I want to remind all of you that when you're at the website, we've talked about this on a couple of occasions during the semester, the updated checklist for media presentations, position paper websites, and blogs such as courses like this. Always have these elements in the backs of your respective minds when you're putting together anything, in this case, for reporting and writing for the mass media. This will be very quick, but here's the checklist. When you're looking at content, always think about structure, headlines, reporting, writing, language, copy editing, fairness, media research, analytical perspective. And the adjectives that are on the far left-hand side should be what you are striving for to achieve those objectives. The visuals, design consistency, font size, color, shading, text image balance, interactivity, navigation, uniqueness, social engagement, mobile compatibility, and aesthetic ability. Again, the adjectives on the far left-hand side, that's what you're striving to attain. And while I'm here, always keep in mind that your blog is going to consist of 20 separate items, not including the final project. Always double check to make sure that everything ideally is in this order and is numbered, as we were just looking at, first of all, from the website for Lauren and what we just looked at from Alexis. Make it easy for someone who is a novice, who does not know anything that you have done in this class, to look at all of these projects and check to see how your reporting, your writing, your factual accuracy, and your editing, including the aesthetic terms that I was talking about a moment ago, tie into the equation. And while we're here, we'll do one more for the record. When we are going through this particular course, it is worth 300 points on the 90, 80, 70% scale. And timeliness does matter. If you're playing from behind all semester, as I indicated on Tuesday, that's going to play a role in your overall grade. If you're a couple of assignments behind, it's not that big a thing. But if I'm going to your blog and you're way, way behind, that's an issue. So your blog is 200, the final project is 50, class participation is 50. Because our next website coming up is from Taylor, I wanted to mention before I go to hers that once you have all 20 assignments completed to the best of your ability, I will go to the grade book on Blackboard and give you a score for those 200 points. Just keep that in mind. Now let's go to Taylor. We've done really good work so far, but we're not at the finish line yet. Taylor has visual journalism at 20. I don't see a wild card. Taylor, I know you're in 2 of my classes tomorrow, so I'm not going to open this up for the time being. I did before class. I liked what I saw, but visual journalism is a separate entity unto itself. Unless you had visual journalism as a wild card and then had a second visual journalism planned for next week. So I'm not going to open that. I'll talk to you about it later, but I will, for the record, go back one more time and let you see what she did for her classmate blog critique, which was a shout out to Gwen. And those were 2 examples that I showed you previously with a link to Gwen's blog, which opens in this window. And that is a very clever touch, Taylor. People have done that before, but not necessarily with a link right here at the outset. That is very professional in terms of a nice touch. Notice, because I was talking about the KTLA story, that was research for what the assignment 19 was, or the assignment 20, the wild card for Alexis. Notice the shorter paragraphing structure that Taylor uses here as well. So let me just mention her middle paragraph. Besides her aesthetic appeal, Gwen's written work is exceptional as well. In each publication on her blog, Gwen dives into great detail about the given topics. One of her blog posts that stuck out to me was her opinion post with a link about James Corden and the petition Wicked fans are signing to keep him out of the production. In this blog post, Gwen discussed this entertaining topic with an active voice and energetic tone throughout the blog. And as you saw with the link at the top, this is a link to the actual opinion piece. And as you'll recall, and Gwen talked about this actually in one of my face-to-face classes with her, she's very strong of the opinion to keep James Corden out of the Wicked adaptation. So Taylor, what I'm going to do, like I said, is to hold off on this for the time being and see whether or not this is visual journalism part 1 as your wild card or a separate entity unto itself. Which brings us to another wild card presentation. This is the website for Haley. And Haley, I sent you an email before class indicating that you do have my permission to go ahead and use the 2021 SAU Christmas Parade as a topic. These are the types of things like Boo in the Barnyard that change every year. So if you want to do something like that, it's certainly acceptable, and I'm sure you'll do a fine job. Here is Haley's wild card. We'll go to read more. I make it a point not to look at these until we actually click on the website. Many people across the globe own technology of different kinds. One of the most being used, the cellular devices we carry. These devices are very popular and handy until a problem within them arises, and we all know this. How many times have you ever had a problem with your SIM card? I know that's happened with mine. These devices are popular and handy, as I mentioned, until a problem within them arises. Malfunctions in cellular devices or the overall breaking of a phone can be the start of a long, pricey process to fixing the device. To avoid this long wait, some owners go to tech-savvy people that assist them in finding the parts and service needed to repair the project. Depending on the brand of your phone, finding the necessary parts can be pretty easy or really difficult. According to a trending Twitter topic, say that fast 3 times. According to a trending Twitter topic, I'll just do it twice. The struggle to find repair parts and a cheaper service for Apple product owners may be lessening in the near future. Now, I wanted to read that entire paragraph for a reason. You recall a few minutes ago, Alexis had indicated that her final visual journalism project, What It's Like to Work in Bussy, is rather long, and that's not a problem because the way that Haley writes is more complex in terms of a paragraph structure as well. You have to write within your own boundaries of what you feel is appropriate. Some people write longer, some people write shorter, and each style can be equally effective. And I think in Haley's case, she does an excellent job of putting together complicated data into a longer paragraph that is well written, that makes sense, and is written in such a way that people can easily understand without any excess verbiage. And that brings us down to trending on Twitter under the news category. Apple is now going to allow customers to repair their own phones, and this is an embedded tweet with a video.
If you've ever smashed the screen of your iPhone, you'll know that getting it repaired is not only a colossal pain in the neck, it can be massively expensive. That may all be about to change. Apple is introducing a program it's calling self-service repair. That will let you repair your device at home with parts bought from Apple and a manual provided by Apple. It's a response in many ways to the right to repair movement, which has gained pace in recent years. Whereas it used to be quite straightforward to repair electronic devices, perhaps 25 or 30 years ago, as they've grown more complex and proprietary, it's got harder and harder.
So that's the video that she provides from Bloomberg, which is a well-known American network focusing on financial news. So that is a Bloomberg tweet with a video. And then she also provides another Bloomberg tweet. Apple is finally going to allow customers to fix their own devices. And then there's something else from the New York Times. How many of you have ever had this happen to you? Apple says it will soon provide parts, tools, and manuals to anyone who wants to fix an iPhone or a Mac. And that is Dateline November 17th. And then you have someone named Dieter Bohn right here, and there's a link to his Twitter feed. This is huge, and I never thought I would see the day. Apple will sell parts for repairing phones directly to individuals. It's also telling that Apple will concede to regulatory pressure on repair, but is fighting tooth and nail on App Store fees. So that's from an article in The Verge. Notice what she's done here. She's taken her introductory paragraph, weaved in one tweet with a video, a second tweet from the same source, a third from the New York Times, and a fourth from this gentleman with a link to a story from The Verge. Final paragraph quote, "The releasing of these parts will open a new avenue for Apple users and phone repair businesses. According to recent tweets, there are mixed reactions to this. Some are questioning why this would be an option and who would want to use this option, whereas others see this as a cost-efficient way to self-service your phone." I could share it if I wish, as I could with any of the projects that you do, most of which are both well-researched and well-written. And this is the top of her wild card. So if you click on her name, she's got the well-known motif now with the lavender news clippings. So 20, I really like what she did, taking a screenshot from my website with all of the names. That is really, really well done, Haley. Many of you have really expanded your artistic and graphic expertise. Virtually all of these of you know during the term we've been looking at. We'll click on older posts, and in this case, go back to number 1. Hometown hard news, news leads with Twitter links, breaking news over a 24-hour period, defining news. The semester goes by very quickly. And that is what Haley's website looks like when you click on it. The next website that I have in reverse alphabetical order for assignments 19 or 20 is Kaylee. And I just refreshed your website a moment ago, and I noticed that the first thing we have up there is the wild card, which may be a shell, but that's okay. And I know we've been communicating by email because you had been in Oklahoma, and I believe you said you were coming back to Arkansas. And Kaylee, I know you're here with us live. Do you have the option to open up your microphone and talk? Because like I said, I know you're here, and I know you're here live. Do you have the opportunity to join us live and open up your mic? There you are.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. I can hear you perfect. I have to dial in when I'm on my laptop versus on my phone. So I had to dial the number to contact you.
Okay, so, but you are back in Arkansas, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
Because you had been in Oklahoma, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you a question, and this is on behalf of Alexis. Before you joined us live, Alexis and I were talking, and I said, Alexis, you need to look at Kaylee's website because she's giving you a shout out on the classmate blog critique, and you can see Alexis' face. And Alexis is saying, because her microphone is open, where did she get this photo? I don't know where she got this photo. And then she said, I wonder if she got it from my Instagram feed. So for the record, so Alexis knows, Kaylee, where did you get this photo of Alexis?
Okay, so I actually there was another classmate that I had named Alexis, and I couldn't really figure out her last name from my freshman year. I was like, so surely that couldn't be her. I was not for sure. And so I actually looked her up on Facebook. And I don't ever Facebook much, so I was like, maybe this is her. And then I think I saw Southern Arkansas University, and then I saw her on Instagram because I really did want to congratulate her work. So I've been waiting until after this class period to see if that's really her. I just made the little collage. I was crossing my fingers that it was her. So it seemed to be her. But you do awesome work, and I actually just want to say this, congratulations and all props to you because you always have all of your projects on time. That's awesome.
And the interesting thing about this is that I've been going back and forth, and a lot of you, when you join me live, will be editing in real time, and Alexis knows this because we were talking about it both before and during class. But in this particular case, you're obviously putting together all of your projects, and I notice that I see wildcard, I see visual journalism, and I don't know when you exactly joined us, but anything involving visual journalism is not going to be discussed until finals week. So we'll keep that a secret. But let's go ahead because I know you've been playing around with format all semester, and I know some of these projects.
May I say something too, Professor Reppert?
Sure. Yes.
So I actually got mixed up, and I think that's what Taylor did too, because I don't know if I just breezed through it or what, but I got and I just made a change because though I knew there was a wild card, and I thought that maybe we had switched the wild card to visual journalism. So my mistake. So I even had an idea and everything for the wild card, and I was like, oh, okay, so maybe that's visual journalism. So I'm actually working on my wild card as we were in class because like I already have like a perfect idea to do that. And I also want you to know that like I am living in Little Rock now, but I've been working and I didn't you live in somewhere near South Dakota, North Dakota?
That would
Or
be Fargo, North Dakota.
okay, okay. So I actually my boyfriend's family lives out there and they actually have like a few different companies and so I was going to do my is it wild card that you're not discussing or is it the visual journalism?
I put up on the screen, and I've been talking about this during the term.
Okay, cool. So
300 points, hang on, 300 points for the class,
mhm.
200 points for the blog, which is assignment 1 to assignment 20. So what we're looking at right now, assignment 1 to assignment 20 is worth 200 points as a separate entity. The final
Perfect.
project is 50 points. And then coming in and joining us as you are by Blackboard and joining us, going into the grade center, I can check to see who's watching the videos. That's an extra 50 points. So
Okay,
that's what
awesome.
the point allocation consists of. Let me put your
Right.
website back up on the screen.
Well, what I was gonna say is I've actually been so you know I had to like do the whole school mess and I had to work and then I had my health issues come up. So I went to another doctor in Tennessee and then I've just kind of been like traveling around because um so my boyfriend's family has like this company and it's called Prairie Phoenix and it's cattle oilers and so I've actually become a sales rep and then I'm soon to take over the company and so it's just like a new form of fashion of a certain cattle oiler and so I actually just did that probably like as soon as I dialed in the number to put that up there because I had that all typed in Word. I just have to transfer it to the blog. But what those are, the oilers, is like so all those are they're sent and delivered separately, like the pipes and the poles and the ropes and stuff like that. So you have to go pick them up, and they're located in like in South Dakota. And so all of the people from like Arizona, Kansas, there's like some sales rep in that area, but nowhere anywhere where we live down south. So I've become a sales rep for those cattle oilers, and then soon my boyfriend and I we're going to take over the company. So that's where I've been working, and I've been flying and traveling a lot this semester for that. Just trying to ignore the health issue, I guess.
Well, this is an excellent idea for a wild card because as we've seen, the wild card can really be anything that you want. Whenever I go back and look at Lauren, she did Harry Styles. Whenever I look at Joanna, how to become a fashion model. When we're looking at Alexis, it is the story of all the money falling out of the armored truck in California. And I'm going to hold off on Taylor's. And then what we saw with the most recent one from Haley, and we've been, on my part, chuckling during the semester because most of the time I'm going from the website for Haley to the website for Kaylee. And she's looking at some of the challenges that people have when they can't repair their iPhones. But in your case, I think this is an excellent topic. For the record, you might want to explain, Kaylee, what a cattle care station does.
Perfect. Yes, sir. I have all of like videos, like stuff that I've actually sent it to like the paper company, printing company, excuse me, here in Little Rock, and to get like pamphlets and stuff done. So I have like videos and different brochures and stuff like that to post on there as well, like how to put them together, how they work, what they are, and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that'll be the right track for it. And it's actually so stinking easy too, because like here, you know, everyone around us has cows, and it's crazy too to see like how much better shape. You wouldn't believe it. Up north, they have prettier and better cattle than down here. But like SAU is going to buy one from me, and then after that, you know, oh my goodness, you know how sales goes. SAU has one, so we need one. So I'm really kind of excited. I hope it, you know, gains its little marketing there. But I'm excited about it, really.
And this is a work in progress, correct?
The wild card, yes, sir. I just have
Yeah,
it all
and
on
that's fine.
Word.
Yeah, that's fine. You just go ahead and make this, you put that exactly the way you want. So let's say now I grew up on a farm in central Illinois. We did not have this many cattle. We had, when I was in high school and I was the youngest in the family, we had basically about 8 beef cattle, primarily just to keep the lots down. In the same way that we had sheep, just to keep the lots down. But if my father wanted to buy a cattle care station, how much would something like this cost?
Do what, sir?
How much would one of these cost if I wanted to buy one?
1800.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And like the thing is, like the really selling point is they're low. You're able to put them anywhere. Like you don't need a tree to hang, like the different socks that they have that the cows are supposed to walk under, or like a gate for them to walk through the ropes. You can put this like in the pasture
Right.
anywhere you want to.
And then you take this and all of the data that you were talking about with videos or other materials, and you describe what cattle oilers are, because there are a lot of people whose only experience with beef is buying it in the supermarket or going to the carry out at a fast food place. And since you've been gone, I can tell you that, speaking of fast food, right next to the credit union in Magnolia, they are putting in a brand new Whataburger, which is under construction. Here
I
we've
heard
got,
about that. My brother and my mom and my grandmother are actually still in Magnolia, so I hear about all the new buzzes going around firsthand. She's like the Facebooker and the newspaper editor, basically, is what I call her. So I've
well, I
heard
would
about the
also say
Whataburger.
this. We talked about that earlier in the semester for a news story, I believe, for Public Records, because that is something that's going to bring a lot of money in for all of the money from the taxes and everything else, or the construction permits. So it really is a
Right.
legitimate news story. Let me go. I'll leave visual journalism alone for the time being. What I'll ask you to do is to, because you were talking about Alexis, I'll scroll down here and you can give Alexis a shout out. There's the photo that we were talking about before. Where did she
I hope
find
you
that?
liked that photo.
It's a good photo. So tell us a
Yeah,
little bit
so
about
it's
why
either,
you like her website.
okay, so like I said, my first bragging point is that she's always finished her blogs on time. So that's excellent. And like her graphics always go with her wording as well. And one thing that interests me, because I'm guilty of it, like if I pick up like a newspaper, magazine, or just like any reading, if it's like the wording is kind of small, or it's like the way it's printed or anything, like I just don't have any care to even read it. Yeah, so you're going back, I see on her website. So like her pictures, like before you click on her blogs, already kind of like explain in detail like what her blog's going to be about. Like that's the visual aspect of it. And then when you click on them, they're just so easy to read. Like her the wording, like it's not like it's double spaced, but the font goes along with it, and it doesn't tie into any of her, like when you go to link, sometimes that runs them together depending on what font you have. And she also does really good at segmenting her paragraphs. And I do, we actually, when the class first started, we had the same like background that she has, like with the words. It's like the lines, actually. It looks like old newspaper. That's what I had to change mine to, because we had the same exact one. Hers is like older news. No, it's not newspaper.
The faded notebook paper is nice. In
Yeah.
fact, Alexis, what I'll give you the opportunity to do during our final day is to give a shout out to Carlin, because we never had the opportunity to talk about that. But since you're giving a shout out to Alexis, here's an example of how she puts it together. And I'll say this, for a lot of you, I think the best thing to do in terms of a font style is to think bigger rather than smaller. How is it going to look on your phone? How is it going to look on your personal device? Make it easy for people to read and comprehend, and make sure that there's a lot of white space in there so it's easily readable, and make sure that there is consistency all the way through. And she had talked about this in class recently, that she wanted to see Carlin's face next to the profile on the website, because I don't think at the time we talked about it that her face was there. But that is a link. Now
Are you
watch. I'll
talking
go back
about like
one.
her face, like and that's something else too. Like I have Google the Blogger, the actual app on my phone, and so like once you hit edit, or like if you go to start a new blog and you like say you type just one word or like 5 paragraphs, either way you hit like submit or it's publish, really, and then after you hit publish it makes you put a photo, like a cover photo for your blog. But if you do that on the desktop version, it doesn't ask you that, so it's really difficult to have to figure out how to do that on the desktop version, which is weird.
And then here's what you say at the end, quote, "In my opinion, any material that's easy to read will always gain a reader's attention versus something more difficult. Alexis does a great job making her blog attractive." And then above, "I would also like to brag on her time management while having all of her projects completed on time." Most of you have. And I should say, some people who don't get stuff done on time, there have been many, many issues off campus this semester with the Blackboard app. Not with everyone, but I've had students tell me that there have been some issues. And then there was one day where I couldn't even get into Blackboard myself from my home computer. Her creativity and topic choices are quite interesting, easy to read, and straight to the point. And then there you've got, for the record, that photo one more time. Hello, there's Alexis. And then you did say something nice about your professor, and I'll just give you an opportunity to say whatever you want to say, because this is your critique.
You want me to just read it?
Now, I intentionally wanted Alexis to get the credit first, but if there's anything here that you want to say for the record, this is your baby. Say whatever you want to say.
Okay, well, let me go. I got to figure it out where I put it. So, so I put, he coaches his student in so many elements, including functional information, helpful technology quirks. By the way, that's like one of your words. Applicable projects, how to be creative, stresses to be yourself. That's supposed to be stresses within your work, and does an outstanding job developing such talent for our futures ahead. Because I will say this, like, for instance, you give us a project, not necessarily the wild card, but public records. So then not only do you like give us a website to like go and find what we could write about, but like you make us like think outside the box. Like I would never research and try to utilize like certain websites like the Visual Capitalist. That is really some cool information, and you don't see that like on Fox News and ABC News and stuff like that. And if you continuously like read all of the news headlines that are on those websites, like it makes my head think, like it makes me think outside the box, like, or it helps me get ready for my future. Like, okay, well, this is what's going on with the world. So it's mainly like you're preparing. So that's why I wrote "you're preparing me for my future," because it's not actually like within school, but like your projects tie in with stuff that will benefit us. Like if you just do the work, basically. Like I love that about the class. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people all the time, like I love school, and they're like, "You do?" And I'm like, "Yes, like I love school." I see your face too. Like I can click over here and see this other screen, and you're just like I'm saying.
Oh, I'm patting myself on the back. I would just say this: I have told you all of this data in previous courses, especially face to face. I treat this class, and I treat you guys the way that I would want to be treated as a student, giving you as much information as possible, but also trying to be encouraging while at the same time trying to give you the tools necessary to be professional. Because I think you can do all of those things. You can be motivating, you can be encouraging, while at the same time realizing that not everything's going to be perfect. And it's the same thing here with the classmate blog critique. If anybody gets behind, or if anybody has an issue with writing or formatting or anything else, it's a matter of going back and editing and cleaning things up. Which is why whenever I look at your work, or if I look at anybody else's, I always view the work from August to December with the 20 assignments in the news blog as a work in progress. And then this is something separate that we'll look at during finals week. Now, I know in your case, because you've been traveling, there are a couple of things that still need to be made up, but I've been giving you credit during the course videos during the term for having the creativity to experiment with different formats. what is best representative of Kaylee Harrell's writing style or her professional responsibilities as a media person. That's why doing something like the wild card on the cattle oiler is something that is perfect for you, whereas for somebody else, it may be in a different category, and that's fine. So if you can join us on Wednesday afternoon of next week, that would be great. But is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion, Kaylee, before we move on?
Yes, I would like to say one thing. So I have like a really hard time, like, I know like I sent you an email too, and I noticed I'll say this, you threw a shot at me, but it was, the fact where you just get straight to the point. And like when I start I'm more of like a narrative writing, and I've never done more like, I would say like news reports, if you will. So like I feel as if I need to do a lot of explaining and then get to, like that, because like I'm not the actual reporter of this news. Like I'm like basically copying what someone has already reported, and there's probably several other like websites and reporters that are talking about the same incident basically. And so like I feel like I have to explain a lot, and like and I'm really working on that, because I know I was always that kid that everyone like rolled their eyes at in grade school, because I would be the one to get up and get the extra sheet of paper when we were doing like writing prompts and stuff. Like I could write for days. And I also stress too, like when you give us like a project or like a blog title, like I don't want to just do something within my vicinity of like my lifestyle. Like I want to do research. So I catch myself researching so long, because I want something that I have no idea about so I can learn and like show everyone else to learn. So like I want to do something that interests me, and I can spread the word to like my classmates and anyone else that clicks on my blog. So like I'm really trying to like, it's really time management, if you will. Like I'm really trying to get my act together with like, getting a topic and like within 40 minutes and like just get to the point. And I would keep saying in my head the who, what, when, where, why, how over and over again. And sometimes I'm like, no, that's not good enough. That sentence needs to be critiqued, when I need to just like type it. So I've been getting on my phone and hitting the microphone and just talking. And then like I'll reread it on my phone and type what I want on my computer. So I know that might take a little bit more time, but I would just sit and focus on the introduction. And I'm like, oh goodness, it's Wednesday. We're going to have another one due by Thursday. So, and also I like type all of my stuff on Word, because when you're typing on Google Blogger and say the computer dies or you lose connection or something and you don't hit update, you lose all of it. And also, if you hit publish, we'll say like Alexis or any other classmate goes back and like looks at my blog, like it's not complete, so it looks crazy, or I have like notes at the very bottom that were just to me or something like that. So if you type it on Word and then you like basically highlight, copy and paste, and then put it onto Blogger, when you publish it, it looks like you copied and pasted off a website, basically plagiarism. And so the Blogger and the Word, they don't have the same font, so it won't allow you to change your fonts. It's kind of odd, but I'm working on that. So thank you for being patient and teaching us the tools.
Yeah, I would say this for all of you guys. That's one reason why, and these issues come up. Blogger's not perfect, but it's pretty good. That's why for these 20 assignments, there is always some flexibility in terms of what you talked about twice, time management. And I understand that. And there have been others over the years that, Kaylee, are similar to you in the respect that they want to explain something rather than just the meat and potatoes, nuts and bolts of writing. So your writing style, once you graduate, may not necessarily be that of a reporter, but as someone who wants to be more specific in fleshing particular items out and writing more in depth or in detail. And that's fine. So the one thing that I really want to encourage from all of you is, whenever I click on that name from the website, from all of the classmates in here for the blog, if you're writing shorter, or you're in Kaylee's case writing a little longer, you just do what is in your best interest, because you said you open up the mic and talk. One of the things I tell all of you in my classes is, I want to hear your voice, and you're literally taking that to heart. And when you were explaining your process of putting together assignments and how sometimes they format a little bit differently, I understand that. And that's never going to have any bearing on anyone's grade. It's always a matter of going back and tweaking and editing, and the creativity, for instance, that you show here, that I actually went through, and I think 2 different classes with all of the interactivity that was provided with the Big Bird announcement that he had gotten the COVID shot. Something like this with the interactive, immersive writing style that is much different than when I taught this course 20 years ago. This is the wave of the future. And it's something that goes on right now. How you're putting something like this together with all of this interactivity shows a great deal of originality on your part and of your classmates by telling a story in a different visual way. And I'm sure you'll be doing that for the wild card. But I appreciate the feedback that all of you guys provide, because again, the bottom line is this is your name. This is your baby, and you want it to be something that just cries out professional, but of course cries out the letter A at the end of the semester on Campus Connect. Anything else you want to say, Kaylee? Are we good?
Yes, sir. We're good. Do you mind clicking on the app critique, the mobile app critique?
I had just clicked on that when you were talking about the issues that you were having with posting. Would you like to talk about this real quick?
Yes, sir. So if you can tell, like how I started the first paragraph, it's kind of like I have to give some type of form of like statistical data, you know, within like how many millions of apps are in like Google Play versus, you know, the Apple Store. And then
real quick,
quick,
before you go any further, I just wanted to say this for the record. If this is the style that you feel most comfortable with when you've got a little bit of an introduction with statistics, go ahead and incorporate this into all of the assignments, because if this is what you feel most comfortable with from a reporting and writing perspective, use it. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And I also too, like I said, I always put myself as if I was the reader versus like the editor, the writer. But like you want something to like grab your attention. And so, by the way, the video that you clicked when you went over this particular blog, you said it had no sound. So on iPhones, you know, you can do screen recording. So
Right.
I had just Googled, or I just went to the Apple Store on my phone and hit news apps, or no, it was just the category. And I screen recorded instead of doing screenshots of all the actual news apps that were available, and then tried to upload it. But it wouldn't do like my video and then send it to my laptop or whatever and put it, because you have to do it through files on your computer.
Oh, that's fine.
So that's why that didn't play. So I had to like to person. But like if you go to the top, like I want to like talk about instead of typing about
I'm not getting any audio right now. Let me quote from her news app critique right at the end. With the mobility of apps today, it's nothing but ease at your fingertips to navigate through the news you want. There are easier, manageable, and efficient ways to fiddle through news matter. And she's got a lot of graphics that she provides with this news app critique, because many of you are doing this all the time. And she describes all of this material and how whenever I was playing the video in class the other day, apparently there was no audio. Can you hear me, Kaylee? Are you there? I think we lost her connection. Let me scroll through that one more time, and I will check. She's still here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
I'm sorry, my phone just went clink, but like the thing was still working, so I just had lost connection. I saw you talking, and I was talking too. I was like, he must not be.
It's okay. I was vamping for time, so I was going to say you can go ahead and wrap up your comments, because I still have about half a dozen websites to go through.
Right. Yes, sir. Well, I was just going to say that I guess like I should just go ahead and go along with the writing style. I think I just think too much about it instead of just writing. And then I was trying, and and I'm not pointing fingers or blaming anyone, but like my high school English teacher, you know, if we had to do a persuasive essay versus, you know, some type of narrative or comparison, she would just like nitpick on certain things, like you need to start off with a question and like just certain things. So I really kind of, and to be honest, I've never written one paper in college until I joined the dark side. So I'm learning. I'm just going to like use my voice.
Explain what joining the dark side means.
Do I have to?
Yes.
So the dark side is join the Reppert team and become a mass communications major.
I've talked about that in class for years. Join the dark side, but in a good way.
Like, I was in your class, like, I think it was the second week, and it was me and Alexis Flanagan, and you were like, you two girls go now. And you're like, y'all are going to join the dark side. And you let us leave class just to walk down there to change all of our schedule and our major and everything to mass communication. So I'll never forget that day.
I wanted to mention this for everyone else. Many of you know that I don't look over your shoulder in the classroom or online and say you have to write a particular way. I want you to maximize your efficiency from your own writing acuity and perspective. I will write a little bit shorter, and I feel that's most comfortable for me. But if you feel more comfortable writing longer, that's okay. But the reason that I don't nitpick is for exactly the reason that you mentioned, and please don't mention any names of high school teachers, but the reason that I don't talk about that is if I start saying you have to start this way and this way, you're never going to get past the first sentence. And I want you to go ahead and put something down and then go back and edit and shape and make sure that everything is factually accurate for a course like this. So in your case, Kaylee,
you are a smart man. You've got it figured out. That's smart. Seriously, like no fingers pointed at you ever, and that's a good idea. So like students will be able to express themselves and like just get their point across, and then you could you know, tell them how to help them or critique their work after it's posted. That's awesome.
But see, this brings up a point that you talked about before, where you're going to take, and many students will take sources from online news sources, and then you're going to rewrite the same story in a different way. But if I don't look over your shoulder and say, start this way and this way, you can take that same story and have a variety of different perspectives, and they can all be interesting. And that's why you always want to make sure that when you're writing and editing, you get all the facts right, but you still got the editorial flourishes to tweak things along the line, just like you'll do here with Prairie Phoenix. Okay, so Kaylee, are we good?
Yes, sir. You go ahead and go with the other
and
blog
website. If you can be with us Wednesday afternoon of next week, we can talk about your visual journalism final project. That would be great.
I'll make a pinky promise. Hold me accountable.
All right. And if you can hang around for the rest of class, that's great. I don't know how long I'll be, but we'll just go ahead and continue. All right.
Yes,
thanks,
sir. You
Kaylee.
have my full attention. Thank you.
Thank you. You can go ahead and close your mic. And I don't mind, especially because we get near the end of the semester. Those of you who can join us live, we talk to Alexis, we talk to Kaylee. But it's also helpful for all of you because you're all in the same boat. How can I look at my classmates' work and improve? How can I work on my writing structure, the lead sentences, the paragraphing, or as she said, some of the challenges that you face in taking data and uploading it to Google Blogger? I take all of that into consideration when I'm grading you, and the time element does come into play. But if it takes you a little bit longer to put something together, that's fine, as long as we're not getting a bunch of assignments at the end of the term. The next website we are going to look at is Gwen. And this is going to take a moment because somebody is just walking across my front yard and I'm not sure what's going on here. I hear dogs barking, I hear vehicles, so hopefully I won't have to pause this. But this is Gwen's website, and here is her wildcard project. And her wildcard project is looking at the run up to the Magnolia Christmas Parade. So let's click on read more. And here is a visual that is provided. I don't know what year this is from. SAU went to the LED lights a few years ago, but that's a great shot. I'm guessing that's taken from a drone camera. Magnolia's annual Christmas parade and SAU celebration of lights with a link will take place on December 2nd, and that should be taking place. We're just after 4 in the afternoon live. Here is the Magnolia Reporter story that is the link to it. And this is something that probably is going to have quite a big crowd later this evening because it is unseasonably warm in Magnolia and Columbia County. And then it talks about the theme for the parade with a link. The festivities on the SAU campus will take place in the evening. I don't know how many people currently are watching a showing of the Polar Express in Foundation Hall, but I'm guessing some are. And we were receiving emails about any type of photo taken with Santa in the Reynolds Center parking lot. That will be this evening. Rides on the campus mall available until 8 p.m. Mrs. Claus is hosting a story time. Free storybooks will be available. Overstreet Hall will be the arrival of the Christmas parade. And then you've got the lighting celebration. There will be songs. There will be music from the SAU band. And then there will be the festivities in the Reynolds Center where they'll have the annual holiday buffet dinner. And that'll be interesting because with the pandemic, you have to be really, really careful with the food and everything else. But you've got reasonable prices for kids and adults. You've got the number in case you are in a different area code. She provides this, and she concludes her wild card with, quote, "The annual festivities that occur this time of year are special to the Magnolia and SAU communities. There will be a lot to enjoy Thursday evening for adults and kids alike." So that is Gwen's wild card. And as we've been doing with many of you today, and I'll also do this on Wednesday of next week, this is what Gwen's website looks like right now. Giving a shout out to Taylor for her classmate blog critique, going from listening posts. And here are the rest of the projects. And this also looks good on your phone, just from the standpoint of what we were talking about with the text size a moment ago with Kaylee. And she and Gwen and Alexis and others continue to experiment with their work. The next website we'll be looking at is Finley. And I believe Finley has her visual journalism project completed. So I've scrolled down on her website to the wild card. And here she's looking at trauma bonding with a number of graphics that are associated with it. What is trauma bonding? Quote, "Trauma bonding is a strong emotional attachment between an abused person and his or her abuser, formed as a result of the cycle of violence." And there you've got something called at the bottom, blessing manifesting. On the left-hand side, trauma bonding. On the right-hand side, healthy bonding. And then you've got a link to what is trauma bonding, and it's opening in the same window. This is a new story from last month on trauma bonding in relationships. And that's a story from Yahoo News. Now we'll go back to her blog. For about a year now, I have been very fascinated with relationships as well as toxicity in relationships. Following leaving a toxic relationship on my own, I decided I wanted to learn all there is to know about how toxic relationships form, different kinds of toxic relationships, patterns, and what is the scientifically proven reason for why they can be so captivating. And then we get into the cycle of abuse. And I had this up a moment ago. It looks better actually here than when you make it widescreen. It's got tensions building, incident, reconciliation, and calm. And then she talks about a trauma bond. And that's not unusual. You'll also see that in hostage situations as well. She talks about the cycle of abuse, how you can have verbal threats, insults, attempts to control behavior, emotional manipulation, or physical violence. Each of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are separate links. Some examples of signs that one's relationship represents a trauma bond include excessive polarity, feelings of indebtedness, independence, perpetual worry, making excuses. It's important that if any of those are present in your relationship, that you should seek help. It's important to know that the love you seek from another person that is mistreating you isn't love that you need. You can love yourself better than anyone in the world, and being mistreated isn't something you should tolerate no matter what. Again, the nice part about having a wild card in all of my courses is that you can go in a direction that I wouldn't necessarily think of, nor would your classmates. Something like this is extremely helpful because you never know, Finley, who's going to read this blog, and someone can read and identify with your writing and research and say, you know what, that's happened to me, or it's happened to a friend of mine, or a classmate, or a family member. And all the way up here at the top, this is a sample of what you're going to find for her journalism project that is visually based, but we'll hold off, as we have for others, we'll hold off on that until next week. I am going to refresh Carlin's website. And by the way, Carlin, we'll need to talk about registering for spring 2022 at some point, but you did get a shout out in a good way from Alexis indicating that she wanted to see your face on the profile itself. We talked about this in class earlier this week, but I'll just for the record show you that here is the classmate blog critique of Gwen by Carlin. And we read this in class last week, so I'll just go ahead and show it to you. Overall, I really enjoyed looking through your blog this semester, Gwen. Again, we could share it if we want. Short, succinct, to the point. And this is what Carlin's website looks like right now with the design consistency numerically from top to bottom. Numeracy, civics, listing post, public record, state, national, international. You get the idea. That unfortunate gentleman right there, I always remember that whenever I click on Carlin's website. And then we've got the click, hometown feature news, hard news, all the way back to number 1. And that is what Carlin's website looks like as we get into final exam week. The next website I have to show you is Courtney. We'll put it up. I'd indicated previously it would be helpful if you numbered your projects. And in this case, you've got the news app critique of Apple. And you're right, when you're talking about all of the sad stories that are available online, she talks about the Apple News app. She talks about Apple Plus. And here is the opinion on the local issue, of course, the Super Bowl winning quarterback, 4-time world champion and outstanding television broadcaster for first CBS and Fox, Terry Bradshaw, when he was here. Now, again, I've talked about this on a number of occasions, Courtney. You want to go back into the blog and make sure that anything that you drop and drag or that you are editing from another source does not show up as the strips of paper. And if you want to talk to somebody about how you can get rid of that, I'm sure they'll be happy to help. Here is the opinion on the state or international issue of the young man in Wisconsin who recently went on trial. And that was her state, national, or international opinion. You'll want to put a space in between the N and the, you want to put an extra space in here so it's not all together. And her entertainment or popular culture. is of a singer and actor, and there are the same things coming up. You want to make sure that before the end of the semester that's cleaned up, because something like that, and here, if this isn't cleaned up, that's going to have an impact on a student's grade. So again, if you ever need any assistance in trying to clean all that up and make sure that the copy is easily readable and in the same color, you want to make certain that this all is edited. But you're doing good things. It's nice to see the improvement that you and everyone else has made. The editing obviously is something that's going to be a big part in everything that we do. And this is the website for Seth, and he has updated his website during class. He now has assignment 20 up on the screen. Now, Seth, this is something that I'd mentioned before, and I've made it clear all during the semester. Number 20 is the wild card. The visual presentation is separate, so I'm going to pass on that for the time being. His classmate blog critique is looking at Chris, who is still catching up during the semester. And here is the way that he got it set up with the different graphics all the way through. He has open comment sections on every post. In the top right corner, he has a search bar, which just makes it easier for the viewer to find specific articles in the blog. And that's what his website looks like. Again, number 20 is a wild card. Please make certain that you're watching the videos, because I've talked about this at great length on many occasions during the term. We'll take a look at all of these websites in greater detail equally on Wednesday of next week. But as you're well aware, if those of you can join us, I'll take more time to talk to you and answer questions and take a look at the quality of the work that you've done. The next website follows a very similar format. It has been updated since the last time we looked at it. This is Jonathan. And he currently is at assignment 15 with entertainment or popular culture. His trending on social media is the college football playoff, international hard or feature news, Marvel Comics, cinema fanatics, Spider-Man. We talked about numeracy before because his mother is in the middle and she is a math teacher. But we were talking about numeracy from the perspective that everyone needs to know math. And there it is, my mother and math teacher. His entertainment and popular culture, college game day, which has become something that everyone wants to join on ESPN. And he likes football. Anyone who's been around Jonathan knows that he likes football and does a lot of work with SAU athletics. So let's just take a look from back to front. He enjoys college game day. He's got Lee Corso with a link, the former college football coach, putting on a hat, Katy Perry, Charles Barkley. He's got different kinds of links here to college football rivalries, including North Dakota State University, my alma mater. He's got links to the four hosts. So the interactive writing is certainly picking up here. And that's what Jonathan's website looks like. I will refresh Chris, who is still catching up, but I will show you what his website looks like right now. And he is currently at listing posts. I don't remember if he was one of the students who is having an issue with the app, but he's a little bit out of sequence here because he's got 10 listing posts, and then there's civics, public records, numeracy. I'm not sure whether there's a way you can juxtapose the order on the website. I suppose it depends upon what particular style of Google Blogger you may be using, but when you click on his website right now, that's misleading. He actually is further along than that. And as I indicated, we will take a look at all of these in a bit more depth whenever we get to final exam week. this brings us to Morgan, and she's gotten a couple of shout outs on classmate blog critiques because she is an interactive media major, that blend of mass communication and art and marketing. And we'll leave it there because hers is still a work in progress, but I like the way that she's got it set up on top with the format because it's going to be readily identifiable. And Trey's in the same boat because Trey works a night job, then takes classes, and his work with the Blackboard app has been challenging to say the least. So he's got, like Kaylee, assignments that are ready to post, but he's had an issue posting some of them. But when we look at this format, as opposed to someone that we were looking at from a few years ago during Tuesday's class, this is very similar to what you would see from Mary Alice Cole. And that's what Trey's website looks like right now from his story for Campus Feature News based on sports. But again, he's got a lot of stuff that is in the hopper waiting to be evaluated. Those are all the websites that I have for the class. When we return on Wednesday of next week, and I'll go to Blackboard in just a moment and remind you of this, keep in mind that all of these visual journalism projects not only need to be completed, I'll probably send a couple of you emails reminding you that assignments 1 through 20, which is the wild card, are one separate entity. Visual journalism is separate in and of itself for 50 points, and then class participation is the final 50. We'll go to Blackboard, then return to Twitter. Our class time next week during final can really be any day or time. I didn't want it to be on Thursday because so many of you are going to be moving out of the dorms. Ironically, for Morgan and for Alexis, because they are both RAs, they're going to have to hang around. So in Morgan's case, she's an RA in Fincher, and as Alexis noted, she's in Bussey. But I didn't want to wait too long, and let's see what our progress is on visual journalism. Don't be satisfied with anything, as we were finding out from Kaylee. Continually experiment, continually edit, and something like that is only going to potentially help your semester grade, at least as far as the blog is concerned. But that's going to be the setup as far as our recording next week on Ultra is concerned. And speaking of Ultra, all of these videos, as you well know, are available there via Blackboard or on my website. But let me show you Twitter and a tweet that I sent out 48 hours ago, a screenshot for the 22 downloadable course videos. After today, it'll be 23. But when you're at Ultra, this is what you see. On the left-hand side, take the calendar and go to August 18th, which is the first day of the semester. And these are just some of all of the videos. It actually goes on to, I think, 3 different pages. And they are alphabetized, so they will show up in the correct order when they're on the website. In this case, they're in reverse chronological order, and as time goes on during the semester, the class sessions get longer and longer, but I feel it's important from the standpoint of being as thorough as possible in making certain that you can do anything that you can to maximize your writing, editing, aesthetic proficiencies, and of course, factual accuracy. So I'll probably send out something that is similar to this by the end of the day. As you can see, a couple of weeks ago, we were up to video Q, and whenever I am accessing these videos on Google Drive. I'll show you what it looks like for me on Google Drive. Any of the classes going back to 2015 with blogs. I showed you a number of projects the other day with examples of videos from 2014 from a digital cinema major, from 2013, the cell phone video edited of Kanye at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. The first one that we saw was 2012, the SAU Celebration of Lights. And then we saw a little bit of this today with the playback video from SAU's homecoming in 2014. Starting here, video A on Ultra beginning in the end of August, and then including today, which will be listed as video W, and it'll be over here. That's going to help you out immeasurably in just either catching up or thinking about how you want your final projects to look, not only on your computer, but on your phone. I've showed you this before. Fall semester of 2017, that was our final exam day in Overstreet Hall 302, what everybody's cell phone looked like with the blogs. And as time goes on, they're obviously going to be far more sophisticated, but it's something to consider because those websites aren't going to go anywhere. They are going to stay online as much as possible. And then one more bit of interactivity before we adjourn the festivities for the day is my website and what all of those links look like at this course. And Kaylee is sending me a message right now, which I will share with you. I'll go ahead and quote. She says, I forgot to mention something. The help desk at SAU got back with me and gave me instructions on what to do when the app is acting up. And I'm glad they are, because with online instruction, and for some of you who are out of state, these are issues that are very important. And I don't want to jeopardize anyone's grade for something that may be out of your control. When you're at the website, at this area, as you're well aware, within this window, scroll down and you can find that blog photo that I was showing you a moment ago via Google Docs, but all of the videos are going to be right here. And these are not the same video. S, T, and U. Google Drive really likes Finley's website, so screen grabs were automatically taken from there. And in my case, that is the traffic cop look. Please wait. That is something that is going to be available from you. And of course, those of you who aren't majors, I strongly encourage you to bookmark the website because it's going to help you from the standpoint of being a digital library in the future. And Kaylee, what I'll do at the beginning of class next week is probably have you come on and talk a little bit more about the app. But as we wrap things up for today, what I wanted all of you to remember is with Wednesday of next week coming up, make certain that with everything that you put together for those final projects, they are exactly the way that you want them. As of right now, as I look at people's websites, we have something along the lines of Joanna and others who are putting together their visual journalism projects. And then I've got a couple of others, including, now I'll just start from this side and move over. I have individuals with visual journalism projects that include Seth, Finley, Kaylee is working on hers, Taylor is working on hers, and Alexis has hers completed. Grades are not going to be turned in to Campus Connect until Monday after everyone has left campus. So you've got more than enough opportunities to make sure that you get caught up and also have the blog and the visual journalism final project exactly the way that you want it. We've been talking about time management. Any of those websites that are a little bit behind, that will be taken into account for your final grade. It's very important that everyone be treated equally. Now, that being said, we've done a lot of really quality work during the semester. The main factor, I think, for all of you right now is the quality of the editing with the writing, and also the editing when it comes to putting the blogs in an attractive package in a format that represents your personality. You want your personality to come through with the writing on the blog, the reporting, the editing, but also with the aesthetics related to the creativity with anything related to the formatting that you decide to use. And they're always going to be works in progress. We will continue with the final exam session of reporting and writing for the mass media on Wednesday afternoon of finals week. Good luck. If you have any questions about anything, remember to go to my Yahoo email address and send me a message. So, as was the case 48 hours ago, this was a marathon session, but there's a lot of quality work that's being done, and let's make sure that we wrap it up in style. As for, as I just mentioned, reporting and writing for the mass media, good luck during final exam week. See you on Wednesday of next week, roughly at about this time. And that concludes the recording session for today.